Welcome to the Din and Don Show. I'm Din.
I did this really cringy face. Start over. We're going to include that in the video.
Okay.
We're going to include that bad intro. Okay.
Okay, hold on.
Just go. Just do it. We'll laugh through it.
Welcome to the Din and Don Show. I'm Din.
And I'm Don. And we're here
for some fun.
I hope you loved that intro. I can't forget the kissy face. This is my love for all of you guys out there. Thank you so much for everything you've done.
Alright, so today we've got an interesting video for you today. We're going to actually go a little step further in the Avatar universe, and we're actually going to talk about the Legend of Korra intro.
I don't remember how the intro goes.
I don't remember.
So here's something interesting. I'm going into this blind. I've seen Legend of Korra one time. That was 4 years ago. I think it was while I was dating my wife. But I watched it with my wife, so I watched it 4 years ago. And then you've recently rewatched it.
I watched it about a year ago, yeah. Again, for the second time.
You sure you watched it? Because we were talking, and he doesn't remember certain parts of the show.
Hey, they weren't memorable.
That's unfortunate. But welcome to Korra Thoughts. I know a little bit earlier when we were first talking about Avatar, we kind of brought up how we are going to talk about Korra. In fact, if we could put a little clip in here.
We'll get this into Korra eventually when we start talking about Korra eventually. God, words.
How we quickly said it. I think we said something about how we'll cross that bridge eventually when we get there. But we're going to give you our first initial thoughts. Now, Legend of Korra came out in
this time period.
I think it was 2012.
Yes.
I think it was 20. Yeah, I think it was 2012. Just didn't do the thing. It came out around 2012, and it was released to I think a lot of mixed emotions. I think that people, they really loved Avatar. Avatar had a lot of fans and a lot of love for it,
and that's what brought a lot of people to Legend of Korra, because it was an expansion on the Avatar universe.
Yeah, and I think the new prospect of there being a new Avatar, especially a girl, a woman Avatar, I think that drew a lot of people into it.
That's honestly one of the things that drew me to it, because I was like, oh, it's a woman.
Yeah,
it's a young woman. Let's see how different it's going to be.
And I think one thing that's probably going to give me hate on the internet is I was kind of back and forth about it, because I think I did kind of like the idea, but it was hard to let go of Aang.
No, honestly, it was. I would definitely have to agree with that. It was very hard to let go of Aang, because Aang grew into such a lovable character. But I think that's also what made it great, because we didn't have to let go of him entirely.
No, his legacy is still in the show. Quick recap of the show, or a summary of the show. Legend of Korra takes place. I don't know how many years in the future.
It's about I want to say 70
years
after Aang.
Yeah.
Well, from where the Avatar lesson left off.
So Aang passed away, and while Aang was still alive, he and the other nations decided to work together to create a new city, a new area called New Republic City, which is basically just Avatar's version of New York City, which a lot of people might credit that, or might compare it to that, which it is comparable. In the world, Aang has died, and now they're looking for the next Avatar, and they find Korra, who at the age of 5 has been able to learn waterbending, earthbending, and firebending, all in her little span of however old she is. She is from the Water Nation, or from the Water Tribe, which continues the reincarnation cycle. And after they quickly find her in the beginning, where she has where young Korra has maybe 30 seconds of screen time in the show, we jump forward till she's 17 or 18, I think.
I think it's...
Maybe she's 16.
No, she's not 16. I want to say she's probably about 17, 18, around there.
Yeah,
because the reason why I say that is because that's when they I think it's 16, because that's when they revealed the age of that's when they revealed the Avatar. Because Aang was 12.
Yeah. They would have done that when he was 16, I think. That'd be all right. Correct us if we're wrong, editing. Drink break. I'm gonna choke on this stuff if I don't. Anyway, back to the story. Stay. Back to the story. We follow Korra, who she is a very strong bender, but she has yet to learn airbending. So she travels to New Republic City to be trained by Tenzin, who is Aang's youngest son and the only airbender in the family. From there on forward, you see Korra try to learn airbending, try to connect with the spiritual side of the Avatar, and eventually even meet with the troubles of a progressing world where she faces an equalist movement that's trying to declare equality between benders and non-benders and trying to stop the oppression that's going on, which comparison almost sounds like things that have been happening today.
Right.
It has 4 seasons, which is nice compared to how Avatar only had 3 seasons.
Only 3, unfortunately.
Yeah, and so and it goes through. It's a roller coaster of different things. You have Korra trying to find her place in the world where the Avatar is not well liked anymore. You see her go through relationship issues with making friends, with being hated, with trying to learn how to be the spiritual Avatar that she's supposed to be, fighting a dictator, a anarchist, and in a sense a communist. And I have no idea what to call Unalaq. We're gonna call him a spiritualist or
spiritual dictator,
something like that.
I honestly don't know what to call him either, to be honest.
Yeah. And remember,
comment down below if you know.
Yeah, we're going off this blind. Well, I'm going off this blind. Like I said, we haven't watched it recently in the last few months, so we will start watching that and hopefully getting to you better content. Today, we're just going to offer you our first initial thoughts. Din, take it away. What do you like about Korra?
What do I like about Korra? So there's actually a couple different things I like about Korra. One of the things I actually loved the most about Korra, which is actually not the show itself, is actually how in the very beginning, when they were like previously on Legend of Korra, and they did like a kind of a news broadcast. I really actually enjoyed that because it was a different twist on it. Because in Avatar, they would just be previously on Avatar, and they would just recap it. But in Korra, it was more like a news broadcast or even like a radio broadcast. And I really enjoyed that aspect. It was like, let's see if I can do it. It's like, last time on the Avatar show or the Legend of Korra. I didn't sound that nasally. The last time on Korra. I have I can actually make it sound like that. I have an effect on that. Do the thing!
We love Do the Thing because one of our favorite characters in Legend of Korra is Varric, who... I forgot about Varric.
Julie, do the thing!
Julie, do the thing! Yeah, Varric, he's like the mastermind. He's like... Bruce, he's like as rich as Bruce Wayne, but not as dark and handsome, I guess, as Bruce Wayne.
I would honestly say he's like kind of like a Tony Stark in a way.
Yeah.
But not as
cynical.
Yes, that's a great way of putting it.
Not as cynical. So, but anyway, so you like the recap.
I really do like the recap. I think it's a really great way how they do it. In fact, I really love the characters. The new characters were very different from excuse me they were different from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
So I'm actually going to interrupt you. There are a couple people have actually, I think, have argued that they feel that they tried to recreate Team Avatar,
and I would agree with that. I feel like they did try to recreate Team Avatar, which they kind of failed at it. I'm gonna be kind of blunt about that. I honestly think they kind of failed at recreating Team Avatar.
Which they should have never done.
Honestly, yeah, in our opinion, they shouldn't have ever done it. But what they did and kind of create this Team Avatar, I think they did good for what they had, but they shouldn't have created Team Avatar. I don't know. I think, yes, the Avatar should have companions and friends and stuff like that. But I don't feel like they needed to be necessarily a team. I feel like they could have done something different.
Right. And you disagree if you want to. That's just kind of some things that we've heard, and there are some similarities to the characters, and
the most similarity that I think was honestly they were trying to do a Sokka remake
with Bolin,
and that's, don't get me wrong, Bolin is a great character,
love the guy.
Lovable character,
the guy.
But it did feel like it was a failed copy and paste,
okay,
or like a reskin.
I think in the beginning, maybe. I think later on he actually gets his own identity.
Yeah, and he does, because like you really start seeing that with the what was it, the moving pictures or whatever.
Yeah, well, even in the end, in the last season, where he starts working for Kuvira's army, trying to help unify the Earth Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I don't know. It can go both ways, I guess. So
I would agree with that.
One thing that I really liked, I thought it was cool how they took bending and they used it in a more modernized way. I brought this up earlier when we talked about lava bending, which still kind of bothers us a little bit. When we brought up lava bending, I brought up how I liked how the lightning benders were the electricians. They were the power plants. I would think that would put a huge toll on your body, though.
Because you're basically constantly bending lightning.
Yeah, you're constantly using the separation of not the opposites, but you're starting to create the
division between
the division. Yeah, the division, the separation of the energy, and
which comes out as lightning.
Which would make sense why Mako is so grumpy and angsty all the time. Just a thought. But I liked that. I also liked how the police force were metal benders. Mm-hmm. I thought that was an interesting thing. I got like a weird hint though the first time I saw the police coming down from the skies, where they had like the wires shot out of their hands. It looked like Magneto or like aliens coming down from above, but it was still cool. I thought it was cool how they brought in cars. I thought it was cool how metal benders, like I said, were police officers, but they're also artists.
Mm-hmm. And to go a step forward with the cars one thing that I really actually enjoyed is they made it more, for all this technology that they have, they still had the like old and new coming together, so they kind of made it steampunk. Mm-hmm. And I really actually enjoyed that about Korra. I feel like they could have done more with it, honestly. Now, like with a little bit of the mechs and the flying machines, I think that was really cool. But I feel like
about the mechs. You remember the mechs, but not the Megazord? Okay, I'm gonna freak out at him. We were sitting there talking about Legend of Korra before all of this, and I talked about how I thought it was weird how Kuvira in the 4th season has a Earth Kingdom Megazord, and he's like, "Wait, what?" Zoom in on my face. It was like, "What?" And I'm like, "You don't remember this? You don't remember the Megazord?" And to be fair, I think I forgot about it too 4 years ago, not watching it, because it didn't stay in my mind very long. Mm-hmm. But as I remembered it, I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that." And then he, watching it like a year ago, forgets it. So, I'm sorry. I guess I'm casting a stone at him when I should be casting a stone at myself. But for crying out loud. Sorry.
No, that's fair. That's honestly fair. I mean, I didn't I didn't remember it, and I feel like I should probably be like have stones cast at me. But but honestly, with like back to the steampunk, I feel like they definitely could have done a little bit more with it, or maybe brought it out more. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's just my opinion,
and that's fair. I think we liked, like we brought up, we liked some of the new characters. We brought up Varric, the Tony Stark Earth Kingdom guy. Very smart, very cool. Finally meets the love of his life, who happens to be his assistant. Super funny. I really liked the character Osami, who is actually the daughter of the man who created the automobiles, the
mechs, and
the mechs. He's like this bigwig. He's like the Harrison Ford
That's honestly
of the Avatar world, of the Korra world. And just she has such a deep character. It broke my heart when she and Mako broke up, because I really liked that relationship.
I loved that relationship. I really did. I wish they got together.
And this is weird. You're never going to hear two guys shipping this, I guess. I don't know. But I liked Osami. I did like Bolin at times. I think I loved Tenzin, who is voiced by J.K. Simmons.
I loved his the daughter that could go into the spirit world.
I
forgot her name. Her name is here.
Kukome? I think it's Kukome. Is it Kukome? Jinora.
Yes.
Jinora. Dawn for the win. I guess, and we've already talked for a little bit, and we wanted to talk about what we liked about the show first. I guess a few things that we want to bring up is that we didn't really like about it, and just as
we'll go in more detail about these, but this is just an overview, just FYI.
One of the things that we kind of both talked about is we weren't very impressed by the bending.
No, honestly, we weren't. We were not.
If we were impressed by the bending at any time, it was in the third season with Zaire. Where Zaire and the Red Lotus, where you have the girl who has like no arms.
She has no arms, so she uses water for her arms.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool, actually.
You've got the lava bender. You've got Zaire, who's just this dark airbender who goes against everything that. Well,
at first he wasn't an airbender. He wasn't a bender at all.
No, he was an anarchist. He's a little bit of an anarchist, and I guess I got that from listening to a couple other videos and it finally making sense. But he's an anarchist. He wants chaos. He doesn't believe in an organized government. But I think those were powerful bending. But it just wasn't impactful. It wasn't like how in Avatar you kind of saw the potential in the first season.
Yeah, like I would say probably the only like thing that was like eye-opening or like jarring type of a thing was honestly in season 2 when they had the energy battle, the energy person battle, which honestly you can't even say it was even that spectacular either.
No,
honestly.
It's what I call spirit kaiju battle.
Spirit kaiju battle,
because that's what it looks like.
It really was. It was really a spirit kaiju battle.
And I think before like I started kind of like trying to be reminded of things, I kind of that didn't really impact me very much. I mean, even the energy bending that was in Sozin's Comet, that was more interesting to me.
No, it actually showed it because you could see, you saw at first how it was literally 50-50, and then how one energy was taking over, and then the other energy officially took over as well, with Aang and Fire Lord Ozai. And I thought that was really cool. And we sneak peek into a future video. We're actually going to expound on how they could have like recreated this in a way and like gone into their minds for this battle. But we'll talk about that more. It's a sneak peek.
That'll be a kind of a fun little theory / story thing we make. So not as powerful bending. This might be a nitpicky thing. We have a list of things.
We do have a list.
That we have a list of good things and bad things. One of them was kind of like the bad recap.
Like in Avatar, you had a really, really good recap where they did the play. And I feel like they kind of tried to, in a sense, kind of copy it, but in movies.
Well, not even in movies. It was movies, but it was more like it was done with like that chibi animation, and it felt more like a filler. It was more of a filler episode. I don't know. I wasn't too. I thought it was kind of cool how they made it. Like I said, I mean, they had like Bolin who tried to become like a movie star, and, and like it's just stroking Bolin's ego the whole time.
It totally is.
But it wasn't that great to me.
They could have done better. Honestly, I feel like they could have kind of taken a little bit of directional advice from the first Avatar with Avatar: Last Airbender in the play. But I think that they actually they tried to do that, but didn't do it as best as they could have done it.
Yeah.
To kind of put it bluntly.
And I guess the last thing that we kind of noticed, and that
this is probably our biggest.
This was our biggest thing, and it was pointed out to me by other people. There's a lot of political topics. Like we mentioned in the first season, you kind of got an equalist movement,
right?
Which you can either compare it to a civil rights movement, which the civil rights movement is a tremendous thing. I'm so grateful we had it happen in our country. But you could compare it to a civil rights movement. At times, I almost wondered if it felt like a communist movement, though. And if you haven't seen the show, you'll find out why, and we'll dabble into that in the future. The second one, I don't really know the political topic.
Yeah, there's no like I don't know, because there was the political topic. No, actually, maybe you could say that.
Don't touch me.
Sorry. No, I was actually maybe it could actually have been kind of like a crusade at that point.
Okay.
A religious crusade because it's a spiritual crusade.
And it did seem like a very religious, kind of a more of a religious thing.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of cool because you kind of get like a backstory about the Avatar. We don't 100% agree with the backstory of the Avatar. Again, we'll get there. we also, the third one, of course, the third season, you have Zaire and the Red Lotus, which supports chaos and in a way anarchy.
That season was fantastic.
It was a very, very good season. And then, of course, the last season was a dictator, and that one seems very much like a comparison to the dictators, and like with like Adolf Hitler, Mussolini,
right,
Joseph Stalin, and so you can kind of see all of those, and in a way. Another thing, again, that was pointed out to me, we'll link the video into the description. Just be warned, it is not very appropriate for kids. There is a lot of crass words and a lot of inappropriate sayings in it. I actually don't really like this stuff, but I found some of the things he said interesting, or they said interesting. So feel free to to watch at your own discretion. One thing that was pointed out is that after every single season, the bad guy, in a way, sort of wins.
Yeah, and this is one thing we're going to go into a little bit more detail. And honestly, when you really think about it, it's kind of true.
And I mean, and you know, just to give some credence, to offer a good thing, is that some of the things that happen are good things, like with the whole equalist movement in the first season, where they were trying to have equality between benders and non-benders. You know, how the leader Amon, how he was trying to do it was not 100% right, but in the end, when it was passed, maybe it was a good thing. But it still kind of seemed like that to a degree.
Right.
Their political agendas were met in a way. So take that as how you will.
Yeah, no, like we were saying, like, comment down below if you have more thoughts about this. Like, we really want to hear your thoughts, because we want to actually discuss a lot of these things, and we will discuss a lot of these things, especially this political one that we were talking about just now.
It was very interesting very interesting once we kind of started realizing how much politics it was in it.
We actually had it was like an hour, just like that 2-hour conversation that we had just about Avatar turned into one of those hours was specifically talking about this topic.
Yeah.
And so we're definitely going to go into detail about this, but please let us know your thoughts, and if you have even more thoughts, please comment them down below. We want to see them, we want to hear them. And if you have additional thoughts, please let us know, because we want to hear them so we can add them to our videos if we agree to them, disagree with them.
Yeah,
we want to see them.
And as we start watching Korra again, our opinions might change over time.
That is true. Our opinions can change,
and maybe we might. And it's not like, and we don't hate the show.
No,
we tried to explain so many things we liked about it, but there are some things about it that we do disagree with.
Yeah,
we don't really 100% like. So, again, thank you guys for watching, and until next time, I'm Don,
and I'm Din,
and we are here
for the win.